Ladies, what's the weirdest fetish a guy has dropped on you all of a sudden with little to no warning? Were you with it or against it? Scat. A guy wanted to watch me take a shit. Cool, pull up a seat and try to figure out if I've met my recommended daily allowance of fiber. But during he asked if he could get a plate. A plate for me to shit on. Instead of in the toilet. I'm very open-minded, but had to decline. He was cute, but not shit on a plate cute. This will probably be buried. But a guy I met on a dating app just started choking me. Hard and with no warning. In the middle of sex. Decided during sex, with no pre-discussion or safe word, was the appropriate time to tell me that he liked choking girls until they were unconscious. He liked them waking up not knowing what's going on. Being fucked really hard. Needless to say, this was horrifying. I was not okay with it. And he ruined sexual choking for me entirely. Which I used to like, not as hard as that or to the point of passing out though. Huge bummer all around. Would not recommend this strategy if you want this from a sexual partner. I had a guy ask me to bite his dick as hard as I could. All I could imagine were the headlines of me biting it off. There's an OkCupid question about how wild you'll get. And I'm convinced that 99.9% of the people that say they'll try anything once have no idea what kind of shit some people do. They should probably read these answers. He wanted to paint my toenails, then ejaculate on them. I was down as long as I approved the color. He did a great job. Even put little hearts on the big toes and gave me a foot rub. It didn't do much for me sexually. But I got a pedicure and we had fun. Edit. He did wait for the polish to dry first. There was some dirty talk. Though mostly I just wiggled my toes at him. It made him laugh and turned him on. It was fun. A dude offered me a few hundred to fart in my mouth on our first date. I did not accept. I mean, farting in his mouth for 500 wouldn't be so hard. The other way round, however. Once had a hookup try to randomly fist me with zero warning. I was not okay with that. My junk hurt for almost a week. Likes having a girl sit on his face. Bare-assed and fart. The smellier the better. Another guy said in order to date him, I'd have to be okay with him pissing on my face. Would find it especially hot if I drank some of it in the process. He asked if he could watch a dog fuck me. I declined. That's like the third time I've seen that one. WTF is with that? I went over to his house for the first time and he wanted to go from the first kiss to fisting. He was just awkward and had never had sex before, so he didn't know how to broach the subject. I politely said no and we laughed it off and continued with our date. He turned out to be an overall sweet dude and we're still together. Still haven't let him fist me though. Edit. Wow. Gold. Silver. And 11K upvotes for not getting fisted. Thanks guys. Gotta respect the long game. One night stand. Call me Captain, I laughed. He left. Not immensely weird but funny. Hope I didn't give him a complex or something about it. Poor dude. Everyone knows if you do that, you should go with call me Ishmael. And then you gotta go harder and say from hell's heart. I stab at thee. Give her the Moby Dick. Dated this dude about 11 years ago. We'd only been going out for about 2 weeks when he brought up that he wanted me to eat grapes out of his ass. He was a pretty big mama's boy, which was already giving me some red flags, and then to spring that comment on me. I pretty much asked if we could see other people. I dated a guy that was into virgin roleplay. He also believed he had a huge enough dick to make anyone bleed, virgin or not. When I didn't bleed after we had some rough sex, I'm totally cool with rough sex, he got pissy. He said I should have bleed because I was tight enough. But I guess he didn't realize that vaginas are super elastic. He was convinced I had cheated on him before we had sex that day. It was really weird. I'm all for pretending to be a curious virgin. But I can't make my imaginary hymen pop and bleed, dude. I still laugh about it to this day. At a party, I had a girl straight up ask me if she could hold my dick while I took a leak. I said why not? Then I got bladder shy and disappointed her. Feels bad, man. My ex had a dog-shaped penis dildo that they bought from Bad Dragon. They had used it on me once and asked if I liked it. I said yes. They then proceeded to tell me in detail graphically that if I liked this, just imagine what a real dog would feel like. That we needed to buy a big breed of dog. Like a Mastiff or a Golden Retriever, so that I could have sex with the dog and they could watch. That it would turn them on so much knowing our family dog was secretly fucking me behind closed doors. I was absolutely horrified. The relationship only lasted 4 months and it still makes me sick thinking about it. Guy told me he likes tall women. Really tall women. Wanted me to dress up and play at being a giantess. We were halfway through our first cup of coffee. Knife stuff. No warning at all. I knew he was kinky and slightly weird, but not like dangerously weird until he was having difficulty reaching orgasm. I said something along the lines of, "How can I help you finish?" and he slides a fake magician's knife out of the nightstand next to him and said he had a stabbing fetish. Wanted me to pretend to be murdered by him. It was a nuclear red flag, but there I was. He's already inside me. So I'm like, whatever. I'll go along with this. He came. I left. The next day my abdomen was totally beat the fuck up. Bruises all over my torso and chest from him jamming a stupid plastic knife into me. It opened my eyes to how sexual stabbing scenes are in horror films, as he explained that's where the fetish began. From growing up watching shit like Halloween. Never Again, oh shudders. I grew up watching horror movies and it gave me a not wanting to be stabbed fetish. Not me, but a friend of mine was talking to this guy who said, "Before we go any further, I need to come clean about something. Please don't think I'm strange. I've got a really weird fetish." Instantly we think it's gonna be something extreme. Maybe involving bodily fluids. I don't want to kink shame, but just something downright gross. He says, "I need to be wearing a fleece?" Patagonia was his preference. It's like innocent compared to the ones in this thread, but just bizarre. Ah yeah baby. Take me in your Subaru and tell me about your rock climbing trip. I had a friend who came across a fellow with what he called a consensual procedures fetish. As in, he liked to put on medical gloves and give girls examinations. She said it actually wasn't that bad because he knew so much about the female anatomy he could actually find her clitoris. I'm a dom, so I've seen a ton of weird shit. One guy wanted me to brand him, like with a hot iron. A couple of guys were interested in serious damage to their genitalia. One wanted to be held underwater. Needless to say, I don't do things that can cause permanent damage or death. Right after I found his stash of dildos under his bed, he asked if he could pee inside me. Edit. Didn't answer the last part of the question. But I was against it. For health reasons and because I wasn't ready for that level of intimacy. He was into blood play and wanted to make little cuts all over my body with a really pretty knife. Yeah, no thanks. I was walking to my college and on the way I saw a couple walking in front of me. I was late for my class and when I rushed past them I heard the girl say, "I knew you were into weird fetishes. But the most I'll do is piss on somebody." Don't even wanna know what the boy said. Was seeing a lawyer while I was in college and he was into dick shaming and a chastity cage. I really liked him, so I indulged him some. Kept his little dick cage keys on my key ring. The whole shebang. But he could not separate fetish and life. So our whole relationship turned into fetish instead of an actual relationship. I had a friend who told me some Tinder dude brought a backpack of fetish gear to their first date. And was surprised that she found it weird. I have to have my tools. My ex was into poop. I was not. Whether or not you're into poop, poop is into you. I just recently broke my hand and it's currently in a cast. I posted a photo of me and the cast on my knitting business Instagram, small following. Almost all women. I got the normal likes from people I interact with. But some weird likes and new follows from guys as well. One commented asking how bad the break was. I got messages like, "How did you injure yourself? And how many fingers are in the cast? And can I sign the cast?" I pulled up a couple profiles to see what sort of accounts these guys follow. And yep. Lots of casts. That's the day I learned that cast fetishes are a thing. That's also the day I learned to be very careful with my hashtags. ETA. Although you've all given me great ideas, the hashtags I used were not so creative. In fact, I went back and checked and the only cast-related hashtag I used was hashtag brokenhand. Not even anything about the cast itself. My boyfriend likes people to watch him pee. Not peeing on people or things. Just peeing in the toilet normally. It's weird, but honestly I'm into weirder. Exhibitionism combined with water sports in a neat and non-messy way. Sounds like a lucky result for that combination if you're not into them. Edit. Gold on my cake day. There was one guy who was really into having a free household. Meaning, I guess, sex and nudity in front of the children. He was kind of vague about what he was suggesting. So I kept on trying to steer things back into the realm of sanity and be all, yeah, sexy times, nakedness. Once the kids are in bed. But then he went into this elaborate fantasy about me showering with our teenage daughter, not actually ours. This was still in the realm of fantasy, and I was like, wait, you're actually getting off on the idea of the kids being involved? Or at least witnessing all of this? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm out. I don't have a ton of limits. But kids is one. He also kept calling me mommy. Even after I asked him to stop. I actually have a child who is still young enough to call me mommy. If there is one guaranteed way to turn me off, that would be it. If I recall. He also referred to his dick as his fuck stick. That would be a hard no. My guy was a tall, skinny, dorky but very cute and nice math professor with glasses. Thin lips and disheveled hair. He looked like the stereotypical math nerd. We get to his place and he asks me to put my head under the couch while he fucks me doggy. Other requests, asking me to lick the bottom of his balls as he gently slaps my face around. And putting me into weird poses on his couch. Seems like he really likes that couch. ITT. Way too many people being asked to fuck dogs. My best friend told me about how she had been dating this guy for a few months and they took a camping trip together. They were having sex in the tent and he puts his forearm down on her neck and starts cutting off her air supply. She freaked and thought he was going to kill her to later find out he had a choking fetish he never told her about. Edit. Since more than one person has asked. No. The relationship did not last. So there's breaking out the surprise choking fetish. And there's breaking out the surprise choking fetish in the middle of the woods where there's no one around. My boyfriend wanted me to dress him up like a girl. Do his makeup and fuck him with a strap on. I actually am quite into it as it turns out. Was talking to a guy online on a dating site. One of those guys that seem kind of too good to be true. Out of my league, good looking, great job, owned his own home. Traveled nationally and internationally once a year on vacation. I figured there had to be a catch. He had a cuckold fetish. I'll give him this. At least he was honest about it early on rather than waiting until I was invested in a relationship. He was also very polite about it when I declined. I mean, go figure, a guy with a cuckold fetish wouldn't be sensitive to a woman bruising his ego. He demanded I call him daddy in the middle of sex. So build up, no hint he had a daddy kink, just demanded it very loudly mid-thrust. I personally feel very uncomfortable with the daddy stuff in relation to sex. Hooray for the people who love it, I ain't one of them. I just moaned louder hoping that would suffice, but I didn't actually say it. Of course, the personal squick was on my mind and killed the mood a bit. I told him later that if he has certain sexual requests he needs to bring them up in advance so we can discuss them and not throw them at me in the middle of fucking. I told him daddy is not at all my jam, but offered some other things I could call him and asked what he would prefer. Turns out he was big on being called sir. Edit. Words. Not me, but friend told me a story about one of her Tinder dates. Fairly boring, non-sexual first date convo. She gets up to go to the bathroom. And as soon as she sits back down, dude is like, so how do you feel about pee play? Like, would you pee on me? I guess her going to the bathroom was enough of a segue for this guy. I see you're a fellow fan of peeing. Dude I was talking to a few years ago wanted me to call him daddy. That isn't the weird part, though I'm vehemently against calling my sexual partner daddy since I call my own father daddy. He also wanted me to act like a little kid. Also not the weird part. Daddy/little girl play is a thing, not my thing, but I try not to judge. The weird part that made me nope was how he continued a stream of comments about how amazing it would be if I was small like a little girl. That it would be so much better if I was completely hairless and had baby fat. It became increasingly apparent he didn't want to just fantasize about age play. He actually wanted a little girl. I ghosted him after that. Creeped me the fuck out.